Hello, 8839. I just wanted to kind of work through a little clarifying video here on Module 3 as you continue working on the final part of your capstone. So I had to do a little digging myself to give you some guidance here. As you move from finishing those revisions in part 1 and part 2 of your thesis, you're adding this final stretch. And this is where you introduce your professional goals. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what that looks like. There is a link here to meet with me so that we can kind of chat about what you've chosen and how that's going to weave into the first part of your paper. I'm sorry, not weave into the first part of the paper, but rely on some of the research that you've already done. It shouldn't be some weird aside that suddenly we're going to have professional goals. They really need to focus in on what you've learned from the first part of your paper. So the first thing you'll need to do is title your section according to this document saying Introduction to Professional Goals. And then you're going to write an introduction, and it is going to be several paragraphs, and it's really a restatement. It's a summary. It's a shortened version of what you have in the first two sections of your thesis. So you'll start with the national issue, and the trends that you're seeing both nationally and with your own students. You're going to briefly discuss what you found in the literature review, and that should include those solutions to the problem, those interventional strategies that were evidence-based. So just kind of restating those 3 or 4 maybe that you found in your literature review. Again, all of this section should have citations. You can attribute it to the authors. Here you would also, in the introduction, you'll list probably bullet point and maybe even bold those 4 student performance outcomes in your curriculum improvement plan that you were looking at. And you will restate your problem of practice with different language. We won't copy and paste. We'll kind of reframe it again. And that will lead into a discussion of your 4 professional goals. Okay, so that problem of practice, and for a lot of you it was literacy. Okay, so if your problem of practice is literacy, then your professional goals need to be measurable, and they need to be attainable, working towards correcting, finding the solution, improving that problem of practice. So I do find that these professional goals that are listed here and suggested here, some of them are going to work really well for you, and then others are just I think going to be very difficult to state as a professional goal that fixes the problem of practice. If your problem of practice is student engagement, then one of your professional goals would very logically be student engagement. And so as you are choosing those professional goals, I think the first draft of this, you're not going to fully flesh those out, but you will describe them, and let me tell you how else I think would be really helpful. So for each one of those professional goals, you'll have 4. You will give a brief description of how that will support your problem of practice, how it will be an intervention, how you will be able to focus on improving your problem of practice. So again, you don't have to fully flesh it out, but it should be kind of started as statements. And really, at this point, that's where you're going to reference the things that you identified in your research in the first section. So if your problem of practice, again, is literacy, and you can logically choose maybe high leverage practices as a professional goal. And in high leverage practices, there's like 18 of them, maybe more, maybe as many as 22. You might just delineate which of the high leverage practices used as a professional goal is going to improve the problem of practice. Again, if your problem of practice is literacy, I think it's going to be really hard for you to show how a professional goal of high expectations is going to improve the problem of practice unless you embed the research that you found about how you improve literacy. But it's going to really rely on that research being explicit to high expectation. And maybe that's, combating and trying to dismantle deficit thinking about students who have literacy issues. Anyway, all of these professional goals, I'm looking for those to tie back to sections of research from the first part of your paper, okay? Use the assertion of the authors about how that professional goal using that particular instructional strategy is going to improve the problem of practice. Now, again, you don't have to flesh all these out fully. They're each going to get their own section, but as you turn in this first draft, you're just going to give us kind of a quick overview. This is one of the papers that's been uploaded as an example for you. You can see that the introduction is, it's relying again on the research from the first part of the paper when examining that national trend of the problem. And they just follow the directions going through what's asked of you. Again, here's those student performance objectives, bolded, each separated. I might even bullet them. Based on those 4 student performance objectives and the problem of practice, this person says, I've identified 4 professional goals I believe will improve poor reading comprehension, which is the POP, and then they break them down. 3rd professional goal, final professional goal, and a little concluding statement. Okay, so that's what they're going to turn in. You're going to turn in next, and then of course the paper continues. By the time you get into module 4, your professional draft. Let's see, where is it? They're going to really start digging into each one of those. Okay. Again, you tie it to the student performance outcome and how it addresses that, and it can be multiple ones in each paragraph. But you're gonna really dig into each of those professional goals and flesh those out for the rough draft 4. Okay, so if any questions come up, just let me know. Use my link back in module 3. Is it the task? Yeah, the task list has my calendar link. Schedule an appointment with me. We can talk through some of these things. Overall, what I see this doing is just enacting some ideas of what you're going to do professionally to improve yourself after you've done all the identification of the problem and what the curriculum changes need to be. Now, how are you as a professional going to do this? And, I think as part of your degree, you're looking probably to work with other teachers. And so I think that professional goal of working with PLCs would also be a really great professional goal for all of you to think about how you encourage others to use these intervention strategies, evidence-based interventions to fix the problem of practice, and how that becomes a professional responsibility. That might be an interesting thing to think about. Okay, good luck. Let me know if I can help.